So, who is here for the very first time, have not been to a Q&A with me? I know, Nancy, you have. Samuel, you have. Angela, have you been to a Q&A with me before? No. Okay. And what about Johanna? Have you been to a Q&A with me before?
No.
Awesome.
This is the first time.
First time? Well, welcome. So what I'm going to do is I am going to tell you what this circus is all about. Okay. Hi, Sumati. So good to see you here, sweetheart. I know a few other people told me they would be attending, so they'll join us whenever they're ready. And let us get started because I want to really offer you the best that I can. And I have 2 questions that were sent to me by email. So we'll address those, but first we'll address questions from people who are in the room. So I want to begin by kind of creating a pre-paving, an intention for our time together. My intention in being here with you is to help you with whatever you have, whatever questions you are bringing, and for me to be able to allow the answers to flow through me, not from me, but through me to you. And so that is my intention. My intention is that whoever joins me tonight is able to leave here feeling more confident than they did when they came here. And so on that note, I want to create a safe space for us to have a discussion. And what a safe space is an environment in which we feel that we are safe, that we can ask any question, that there is going to be no judgment from anyone here because we are all in the same boat. You know what I mean, because I think we've all been in those situations where we have entered a room and we felt all the eyes on us and we felt like something's wrong with me. Why is everyone looking at me like that? So we have this tendency of picking up when we are being judged. And conversely, we are also in the habit of judging other people. I know I certainly have done that. I have been to a gathering and I've decided, oh, I don't like the way that person feels to me. And so I kind of put this wall up around me where I don't want to talk to them. I don't want to sit next to them. I don't want to talk to them. So we all have this tendency of closing up when we are feeling judged. And when we create a safe space, that space is without any judgment. And so you can ask whatever question you have without feeling that something's out of whack, that somebody is evaluating your worthiness. That's not happening here. So if you agree with me that there is going to be no judgment here in this room tonight, then please, if you could raise your hand or put it in the chat, I agree. And I will wait for your response before I continue. Thank you. Yes, Nancy. Samuel, awesome. Thank you. Angela, thank you. Johanna, thank you. The second thing that I would like for us to agree on is that we are going to surround each other with unconditional love. There's going to be no repercussion of anything that is said in this room. Nobody's evaluating, nobody's judging, and therefore there is no repercussion of anything that is discussed in this room. So if you agree that there is going to be no repercussion in this room, please either raise your hand or put it in the chat. I agree, or just put the number 1. Thank you, Samuel. Nancy, thank you. Awesome. Sumati, thank you. Angela, Johanna, thank you. Susan, thank you. Lillian, thank you. All right, lastly, I want to thank you, Sumati. I want to extend unlimited love to all of you. Unconditional, unlimited love. You are all loved. Guidance is always here for all of us. We are in this space to ask for guidance so that we can move forward with our lives feeling confident. And so anytime anyone asks a question, please join me in extending unconditional, unlimited love to them, because it takes courage to ask a question. It really does. Because there are very few spaces where we can ask a question. Yes, that's okay, Sumati. It's okay. I see your comment. Thank you, Tamika. So they're very, we are so conscious of how other people see us. And so there are very few spaces where we feel that we can just be who we are. We can take off the cape that we are wearing, because we're trying to be super beings. So there are very few places where we can take off the cape or stop wearing a mask for other people's benefit. So if you agree that we are going to surround each other with unconditional love, please put a 1 in the chat or just type your agreement or raise your hand. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Sue. Thank you, Sumati. Thank you. All right. So I'm here to thank you, Johanna. Awesome. Thank you, Tamika. I'm here to help all of you. Angela, thank you. With any question that you have. It doesn't matter whether it is about something small or something that you consider big. For source, as far as the universe is concerned, everything is the same size. There's no big or small. And so law of attraction is about a couple of things that I just want to lay the framework for the benefit of the people who are new in the room. Law of attraction is about accepting the premise that all things are possible, because they are. And I can talk to you about the science of why all things are possible, because I have studied that science and I understand it with clarity. The second premise is I create my own reality. I am the creator. No one can create in my experience unless I am on the same vibration as them. Number 3 is that nothing is big or small. Everything is the same size. I can create anything. Number 4 is that it's all about 2 things, emotion and momentum. Momentum is what results. What is momentum? Momentum is the intensity of emotion. That's what momentum is. The more we think a thought, the more momentum that thought has. Negative thoughts and positive thoughts both can generate acceleration or momentum, and momentum is what leads to manifestation. So when we understand these basic foundational principles of law of attraction clearly, we can explain anything. We can explain why things happen the way they did, and we can also use these principles in order to create the life that we want to live. So if you're not clear on how law of attraction works, that too is a question that I would love to help you answer. Find the answers for from wherever you are. And so the floor is open. Here are a couple of things that I want you to know about how I conduct these meetings. I conduct these meetings based on channeling. So I feel your energy, not just your words, not just what you put in the chat. I feel you. I remove my logic out from the picture and allow whatever answers are coming to me for you. I allow them to come through me. through using my words, but I'm not the one generating the answers. So it helps me to feel your energy more powerfully and connect with you more powerfully if I can see you. So if you're just listening, it's okay that you don't have your camera on. But if you ask a question, I prefer that you come on camera. I will still respond to your question, but I would like to see you so that I can feel you at a deeper level. And with that being said, the floor is open. Whatever questions are in the room, bring them on. We'll go in order of hands raised. So whoever has a question, raise your hand. Electronic hand or physical hand, doesn't matter. Sue and Chris. Hi, Chris. Nice to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Of course. Of course. I don't know if you know, but I know you for a very long time.
That's how I feel too.
Sue, go ahead. What questions?
All right. So my question has to do usually with my grandson once again. And I didn't really have a question, so Chris reminded me of the question I had, that he gets really excited about wanting something. And yesterday he decided he wanted a dog, which he's afraid of dogs, but he wanted a dog. And brother's allergic to dogs too. But it was just a thing, you know, he was all excited about it. And he mentioned it to us, and I said, oh, well, and usually he kind of hits me with things as soon as I come home from the store. So, and I said, oh, that's interesting. You know, you want a dog, and then one thing led to the next. And I said, well, the dog pound is closed right now. You can't go to the dog pound at this point. And he got really kind of like irritated and ornery about it, that it couldn't happen right now. And then it kind of like gets worse and worse and worse. And it ended eventually. His mom took him home. But then today was not quite that dramatic. I'd gone home, and as soon as I walked up the driveway hill, he needed $5 for something else. And I said, oh, okay. So I got in the house, and I said, let me think about it. And he goes, I need this $5. So it was like really pressuring for $5. And he seems to get like super excited about something. He's high flying. And then, of course, if it doesn't happen, he's like crashes to the ground. And it's a challenge for me to handle that successfully. I'd like to really find a way.
Totally. I hear you, and I can see him. You know, I can see this playing out. As you're talking, I'm imagining the whole thing playing out, and I know what's going on with him. The main issue here is that he sees you, or he sees the humans around him as the source of anything that he wants. So instead of asking the universe, instead of understanding that you can put a desire out there and it will find your way, it will find its way to you and does not have to come through his grandmother or his mother, that the universe will find a way to bring it to him, that's what is missing, and which is why he gets upset. If he knew that once he asks, somehow it will arrive, then he would not feel the way he's feeling. So a question for you is, do you have the book Billy Be Well?
What is it?
Billy Be Well? No? Let me see if I have one. How old is he, Sue?
Yeah, that's the whole thing. It's like,
How old is your grandson now? Is he 8?
he's 9. He'll be
He's
10 in
9.
October.
Okay.
Oh, there you go. Oh, yeah. Magical. Oh,
Do you have this?
no, I don't. But I've
Okay.
never seen.
So this storybook is meant to teach children that the things that they want don't come to them through their parents, don't have to come to them. How things come to people. That's the premise of the book. It's written as a storybook. And that it was written a long time ago. That's how big my son was when I wrote it. So it would be helpful for him in story form. So you can read the story with him, and then you can have a discussion with him, and you can give him examples of the thing is, he will really learn if you give him examples of how you followed the concepts in the book. And then things happened that you didn't know how they were going to happen, but they happened.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
So we want him to shift his focus from thinking that when he wants something, you have to get it for him or his mother has to get it for him. I want him to start understanding that when he has a desire, it will happen. And if he throws a tantrum, he's actually pushing it away.
That's good. Yeah.
Right? So that concept, once he figures that one out, he is going to have more control over his emotional state. Because he's going to understand when he's going down the emotional scale.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you remember the story, I think you might remember because you've been around me for a while now, of Walmart. And me taking my son on Christmas Eve to Walmart. So, like kids think they have to have it right now. And you can tell him that story too. So I took him, so just for the benefit of other people who are here, he was small enough that I could put him in the cart. That's how small he was. And I just had forgotten a couple of things. So Christmas Eve, I ended up going to Walmart. And I still remember I was not happy about going because dressing him up with his jacket and his boots and having to bring him with me. Anyway, we went into Walmart and he almost fell out of the cart because he lunged for a Lego set that he saw. And he threw a tantrum. He wanted that and he wanted it for Christmas and he wanted to go home with it. And I didn't want to get it for him because I had already got it for him. It was gift wrapped and it was under the Christmas tree. And tomorrow morning he was going to get it. And in my head I started thinking, I could get it right now, but that would mean that I would have to bring the other one back. And the lineups at Walmart at customer service after Christmas are just, I've seen those lineups. I don't want ever to be in one of them. So I really didn't want to get another one. So I allowed him to have his tantrum. He kicked and he fussed and I dragged him and all the eyes were on me. I felt like such a horrible parent making a child cry on Christmas Eve. And he was the cutest little kid. Let me show you his picture. Okay, he was about this age.
Oh.
Okay, see those cheeks? And he had big tears rolling down these cheeks. And everyone in Walmart was looking at me. And I felt, the judgment that I was talking about. I felt like the whole world was looking at me and thinking, what a horrible mother making a kid cry on Christmas Eve. And then on the car ride back, I was thinking, oh my God, this is exactly what we do. Like when we ask for something and source has it. The universe says, okay, ask and it is given. So here it is. It's gift wrapped. It's waiting for you. Stop fussing and then you can have it. And we don't stop fussing. We make it into this big hairy deal and we think the world's going to end if I don't get this thing. The man, the house, the woman, whatever, like whatever desire you have, you think like it's the end of the world and it's not. The universe has it. You just have to stop fussing in order to get it. So there are all these stories that you can tell him.
Yeah.
And that story of Ferris's, like he's the kid in the book. This story is about him, right? So The other day I was talking to Faris. Now he's 20 now, right? I was talking to him about this and he had no recollection that this event ever happened.
Funny. Yeah.
They forget. But as long as they remember the concept, I don't care if they forget the event. It's about them remembering the concept. So start teaching him that you are not the source. It can come through you, but it always comes from the universe. It always comes from source.
Yeah.
Never from you. Through you, not from you.
That's great. I like that.
Right? Awesome. Fantastic question.
Look at it.
He will.
Yeah.
And then you can also point out to him. Like I have stories about my children when they did these things, they manifested things. I have these stories about my children that I can remind them of things that happened. You know, there's another story about how they manifested watermelon, how, you know, like he manifested going fishing. Like there are so many stories that I can tell him of things that he did, that he doesn't know how those things happen. Right? So you can tell him stories from your own life, from his mother's life, from, you know, people that he knows, and his own life.
Yeah, because he's pretty magical. There's a lot of things he's just mentioned and they just come.
Exactly. That's all you need to. Once he grabs onto the concept, you'll see he's going to start teaching you. That's what happened to me. Once my children learned about law of attraction, then they would turn around and say, you know what you're doing right now. Right?
My kids do that sometimes.
Yeah, they'll call you out. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're good at that.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic question to get us started. All right. Chris, you have a question as well?
I do. I have a 39-year-old son who is about to turn 40 tomorrow. He moved in right before COVID and at the time was experiencing anxiety and depression. And it's been a long 5 years, but he does have some momentum going in healing. And it, you know, it's at his own pace. It's slower than I would like. But my question is, in this process, he has really good days, and I get super uplifted and really hopeful for him. But when he has his bad days or a bad week, I just crash, and it breaks my heart, and I get so sad, and you know, and I just don't, and I feel like at a loss what to do. And my question is about getting off the roller coaster. Like, how do I stay more even as a very sensitive mother who, you know, I care so deeply about him, but like now I kind of hold back when he has like an uplifting moment, or I want to hold back because I'm fearing the crash, you know what I mean? Instead of learning how to like ride the waves, you know?
I'm going to ask you a few questions about him, but I'm going to give you a very graphic analogy that is if you latch onto this, you will absolutely control your emotions and not go down. Okay?
Okay.
Prepare yourself. Okay. So, what would you do if your son, same child, got trapped and he was trapped under debris? Something happened. Something fell on him. What would you do to help him at that time?
Try to lift it off of him.
You would do anything to save him, right?
Yeah.
And an extreme example happens when you have to save someone's life and you have to sacrifice in that process one of their limbs. Right? We've seen it on television multiple times. Okay. So the thing is, with law of attraction, if you go down, you're actually hurting him. You're not saving him.
Yeah.
You are letting him be buried under the debris if you go down with him. Because when you go down with him, you don't have the strength to lift the debris off of him. You can only save him by maintaining your emotional balance. So I would do anything to save my child, and if that means I am not allowed to go down the emotional scale, then I'm just not allowed to go down the emotional scale. Because I don't want to hurt him. I want to help him.
Yeah.
So as a parent, why would you do anything that is going to hurt your child even more? You can't. So remember that. When you go down and you feel bad, you are hurting him. You want something good for him, you have to maintain your emotional balance. You're not allowed to go down the emotional scale. The hardest thing for me to do the first time my daughter, who is older than my son, fell and cut her knees, I can't stand the sight of blood. It makes me nauseous. But I could not afford to faint. I could not afford to show any weakness. When she was bleeding, I was the person who had to look after her. I was not allowed my emotions. Because otherwise I can't look after her. She needs me to care for her. If I become a basket case, how am I helping her? But that's what happens when you feel bad for your child. See, it's very easy when it's a physical hurt. We know what to do. But when it's an invisible hurt, just because you don't see the blood doesn't mean it's not there.
Yeah, I understand. I do understand that, but it's hard to hold my tone where I want it to be, and especially having done the work, like the law of attraction work over the years and stuff. Like, I know that if my cork is sinking, I'm just not bringing anything good to lift him up.
What's more important?
Yeah.
What's more important, right? If his well-being is important, then as a parent, you have to do what's best for him.
Yeah.
So
right.
You can't be lazy about it. You are not allowed.
How is that, right?
Stella agrees.
I'll be more attentive to.
You just cannot. You cannot allow yourself.
Radical.
It's a decision. Listen, Chris, it's a decision.
Yeah, it is.
Right? So somebody comes to the door and they want to sell you something that you don't want to buy. You are decisive. You're like, no, thank you. Close the door. Right?
Yeah.
You have to be decisive. Not doing that because I'm hurting my son. That's the last thing I want. It's the opposite of what I want. It's a decision. You are making the decision not to be strong. You can make the decision to be strong.
Let's do that. You're right.
Right?
Yeah, it's my choice.
It's
right?
your choice. Not only is it your choice, but you actually are hurting him. Because if you really understand law of attraction, then you understand that when you go down the emotional scale, you are sending him negative vibes.
Yeah.
That makes it worse.
I'm manifesting a kid that's, I want to see him move forward. If I wallow in the self-doubt, in the doubt.
Exactly. So now what I want to do is ask you, what caused this to happen to him?
I guess Ryan is an artist and a musician, and two things happened. One was COVID. He had a a tour planned to go down, like, to New York, Washington D.C., down to Florida with a friend of his to play music. And that just, the rug was pulled out. And then I think he was already experiencing the depression and the anxiety, but was busy enough in life that he was managing it. And then when COVID came with nothing to distract him and force him out into the world, he became very isolated and the symptoms escalated. And then now at 40 years old, he's having like a life crisis because all the things that he thought he would be and all the things that he thought he would do, he feels like the opportunity has passed him by, and he has to rethink his life and rethink what next is going to be. So when all your life you just wanted to create, and now and he feels like that is not an option like it was to him. That's kind of escalated this, and he is, like I say, he has got some momentum going forward. He's got a therapist, and a few opportunities have cropped up, like a friend an artist who he'd worked for has offered him
So it's basically work. It's money that is the problem, always was, and still is.
Part of the problem, yeah. And he loves me, and he tells me, with gratitude, how much he appreciates having a place to live and having food to eat. But he's not happy living with his mother. You know what I mean? So we end up with some like that dynamic, back and forth stuff. But I just adore him. I just think he's like just a wonderful, and I see all his
Of course you do. Of course you do.
And his specialness.
Of course
and,
you do.
His shine, and just
He has to see it for himself.
But
He's got to see it in himself.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you stop worrying about him, he will be able to see it. It's your worry that then makes him worry.
Yeah.
Right? Children are very sensitive.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Reminder.
Yeah. So watch the Sue, could you share the TEDx link with Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, because I think it would help her to understand that worry is not a measure of love.
Oh boy, we're still taught that, aren't we?
Yes. But that's what she's doing. That is exactly what she's doing. She worries about him because she cares. So if I stop worrying, that means I would have to stop caring, and that's the problem. She needs to watch that video.
Yeah, I will.
Awesome. Thank you.
Good reminder.
All right. You're welcome. Nancy, go ahead. Hi, Nancy.
Hi. How are you?
Fantastic. How are you?
Okay. The universe winked at me. See? I quickly watched your tag video right before this. Maybe I missed it. It said, give your mind a task when you're overthinking.
Yes.
I'm overthinking a lot. All the time.
You instigated that video. You know that, right? That's why I posted it in the group
But
for
I
you.
also know that I'm overthinking. And I tried to be it more than now, but of course then I saw the video about overthinking, and then I started overthinking more. And then it says, give your mind a task, and it's like, what task?
You always have to give your mind a task. Otherwise, it will create its own tasks. And the task that your mind will create if you don't give it something to focus on is going to be the overthinking, the worry and anxiety. Yes.
Yeah.
So, everybody... Sorry?
Like the chair yoga you're talking about? That kind of thing?
Chair yoga, yes. See, the trouble with chair yoga is that unless you focus on the movements, it's not going to work, because you can be...
I might not be able to when I'm at work.
Your body, you can do physical actions without your mind can be somewhere else. Right? That's the issue with you. That is the issue with you. The only type of exercise that helps with overthinking is cardio. When your heart is pumping and you need to breathe, your mind can't think of anything else. So that cardio exercise, even though there's no survival issue going on. Hang on, guys. Sorry, my son's calling. I'm just going to take this quickly. Yes, love?
Yeah, Mommy called.
I called you because I have Ilyas kebab. Can you come and get it?
No.
Okay.
That's nice.
Will you come tomorrow?
Afterward.
All right. Love you. Bye-bye. Sorry, guys.
Okay, but the thing with cardio is when I'm at work, I can't always do cardio.
No, I understand that, but that's what I'm explaining to you is that it's not good unless you're doing cardio. Your mind can still, if you're doing yoga, your mind can be solving problems. Okay? So the main thing is you have to stop solving problems. Just be. Just be. Don't try and solve problems all the time.
Fine.
So how do we...
I've improved.
I know you have. I know you have. I know you have. I know you have. We are all on this journey. Nancy, I have done so many things to bring myself back to this now moment. You have no idea because I know you because you are me. You are just the version of me from a few years ago. Okay? Because I used to feel like a wind-up toy. You wind it up and you set it on the ground and it keeps going round in circles until it's exhausted. Right? But that's what it does. That going round in circles mentally will deplete us of all our energy.
That's my other issue lately.
Well, yes, because you're in that, you're going round and round in circles, not going anywhere, just spinning, then you will feel depleted because it's sucking all your energy. So you've got to stop that process of overthinking. And there's so many things you can do. Like I shared with you a lot of the things that I have done, but you've got to give your mind a task. And you've got to give your mind an instruction to focus on the task that is in front of it. Okay? So, for example, if I am cooking, so I can cook with my eyes closed. Like I know my stuff. I don't need to read the recipe. I know what I have. So cooking is a time when I can go totally off in my head, somewhere else, fixing the problems of the world. So unless I'm watching Netflix or listening to an audiobook, if I'm not doing those two things when I'm cooking, I have to tell my mind to focus on what I am doing. And I say, if you focus, you will do a better job than if you go on autopilot. And so I tell my mind to stay in the moment because then I will do a better job. And that's what you need to understand. Wherever you are in that moment, you will always do a better job with whatever it is that you're doing if you are paying attention. Because when you are paying attention, when you're focusing all your energy on the task that you're doing, you'll get it done faster, you'll get it done better, and you'll feel better. And your mind won't go off on autopilot. So it's an instruction, it's a decision. I am not going to let my mind wander. Why? Because it's important. Why? Because I want a better future. I'm going to do whatever I have to do to make sure I don't create problems for myself. Forget about other people creating problems for me. I'm the one creating the biggest problems because I'm not staying here in my now. I'm not good. I refuse to be a problem in my own life. My life is too important. The things that I want are too important. I'm not going to be a lazy thinker, because being a lazy thinker means I will always be chasing those things that I want. Because my mind is the problem. I'm the problem. So this is like, I still remember when this hit me. It literally hit me. I just stood there. And I remember I had to hold on to the kitchen counter, because when it hit me, I literally felt like the ground evaporated from under my feet. And the thought that hit me was that every single thought I am thinking is me taking a poison pill. Every thought is a tablet full of poison. I am poisoning myself with my own thoughts. So it was that image of Matrix with the red pill and the blue pill, right? And I decided in that moment, no pills at all. That's it. Cold turkey. I am not going to think about my life, because me thinking about my life is the problem.
Yeah.
If I was doing a good job of thinking about my life would be amazing. So the way to fix it is to stop thinking about it. That's when I fell in love with the trees. Because I was like, okay, I have to find something else to think about. What can I think about? Well, I do love nature, so I guess I'm just going to think about trees from now on. Trees, water, sky, sun, birds, bunny rabbits. That's it. Your life literally depends on it. So do it, because you are worth it. Your life is worth it. There's so much more you can be and do and have. Why not? If all it takes is for me to stop thinking, I'm going to do that.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. You know that, right? You're such a sweetheart. Yeah. Samuel, go ahead, sweetheart. Good morning.
Hi, morning. Hi.
Hi.
Okay, so on Monday, for the whole day, I actually did like every half an hour, I did the 2 minutes appreciation exercise, and actually found that some of the time it actually worked, but for some of the time, it actually ended up creating attachment to like creating more attachment, because like I was still trying to use appreciation to actually get things rather than feeling good. So like, what's your advice on this?
Don't do it.
So I knew it. I was like thinking that as well.
You have to
But it
find,
actually worked like, but it actually worked like some of the time. That's the thing. It's not like it doesn't work all the time.
Samuel, you're making your job so much harder. We want to find the
Sorry?
path. We want to find the path of least resistance. And it's not going to be the same path every single time, because you're not in the same place on the emotional scale throughout the day. You are going up and down the emotional scale. So if this is the emotional scale, Samuel, and I am able to, because I was here and I was able to appreciate the tree and it worked, and I went up here. But 30 minutes later, I'm even further down, and then I look at that tree and I hate that tree. It's not going to help me.
Yeah.
So I've got to find something that feels good from here. But let's say I push myself up here, and then half an hour later I do another 2-minute exercise and I bring myself up the emotional scale past the worry line, and now I'm over here. I can appreciate trees till the cows come home. because I'm up here. So if it has the reverse effect, that means that you,
Don't,
yes, yeah. Don't pick the same thing to appreciate over and over again, because then you're making it into a chore. Nobody likes chores. So what you've done
Yeah.
is you've made the 2-minute exercise into a chore. Appreciation should not be a chore.
Yeah, basically I was doing that for the same subject. So the very first time
That's
that day,
that's
it was
the that's
okay,
the issue. I know. That's why I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I
And then
know.
the second time it was less, third time, fourth time.
Don't do it like that, because that's like going to school and the teacher is giving you like a page of writing, I will not talk in class, I will not talk in class. Like, don't do that.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be your punishment is that you have to appreciate. No, don't. That's not how you do it.
I know.
You got this.
Yeah.
You got this.
Okay.
Pick things that are easy to appreciate. Pick things that are easy to appreciate.
Yeah.
Something feels hard, stop right away.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Okay, you're welcome. Johanna, go ahead, sweetheart.
Hello, thank you.
You're welcome.
So, I have been looking for a job for the last 6 months. When I started the job search, I was like very depressed, like I was kind of like worried, depressed, sad, and nothing happens. And then I found the book of the Vortex, and I found the book study with you, and I started doing it, and I feel so much better. But I still haven't found a job, right? I feel like I'm not thinking about that much as before, or worry about it, or sad because nothing has happened. But I feel like if I see a job that I like and I send the application, and if I get like the rejection, then I feel bad again. And like I'm not sure how to manage that and how to manifest that job. Like it has been like hard for me.
It is hard. I understand. Money is important, and having a job is the way that most of us have money coming into our lives. So let me ask you a couple of questions. Are you looking for a particular type of job, or you're just like any job?
No, I'm looking for a particular type of job.
Okay. So talk to me about this particular type of job. What do you think is happening in the industry with respect to this job?
I feel like it's tight. The market is tight right now. Like I live in New York, and I feel like I sent an application and another 400 people sent the application too. Yeah. So I'm very lucky sometimes to get the interview. Sometimes I don't get anything. It's just, I feel like it's just the number of resumes that the companies get. So I think it's because of that. I have tried to get like maybe other things like related, not exactly the same thing, but it still hasn't happened yet either. Yeah. Like I'm not that close mind, like it has to be this. No, but it could be something related that I know I can do. But it still hasn't happened.
Okay. See, there you are. I asked you that question because I wanted to hear how you're thinking. And your thoughts, do you think you're thinking negative thoughts or positive thoughts?
Sometimes negative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel like it's because I have been rejected so many times.
Yes.
Like that I start like maybe convincing myself that's why, I don't know.
That's the issue, because when you think that the market is tight, then you are asking for a rejection.
Okay.
Okay? That's your underlying belief. Your underlying belief is that it's not easy to find work.
Mm-hmm.
And if you keep believing that, then it will remain difficult. So that's the main thing that you need to shift your thoughts about. It's not like other people are not finding jobs. People are finding jobs, right? So you're the one who's not finding work. It's you. It's not about the job market. So you have to start thinking that there are lots of jobs out there, and the right one for you will show up. And stop telling yourself that it's a bad market, that employers get too many resumes. See, those are all negative beliefs. When you think like that, you are basically telling the universe, it's going to be hard for me to find a job. And the universe will say, okay, you want it to be hard to find a job, I'll make it hard. Okay? Stop thinking that way. Start telling yourself, give yourself different information. Okay? There are lots of jobs out there. People are finding work. Employers want good workers. I'm a good worker. If I can get into an interview, they will see I'm sincere, I'm committed. They will see that I want to do a good job. And that's what they're looking for. And besides, in this day and age, that's the thing employers want most of all. They want workers that they can depend on. Right? So change the way you're talking to yourself about the job. Stop telling other people. Like when you have a conversation and your friends and family are going to say, oh, so what happened? Did you find anything?
I have found that very difficult because I feel like they put a lot of pressure on me and I feel like I don't want to talk about it.
Exactly. I totally get it. Because it makes you feel bad. It's like, your self-worth is being attacked almost.
Exactly.
Right?
Like I'm feeling good, I'm feeling happy in a conversation, and then they start asking oh, but how long have you been looking for a job?
Exactly.
And then I start getting down in the emotional scale, as you said.
So you have to have a couple of things that will really help you. Okay? Your best friend, your best tool for you to use just now is pre-paving. Are you familiar with how pre-paving works?
Yes.
Pre-paving is your best friend. When you apply for a job, pre-pave. Okay? I want them to, through looking at my resume, through looking at my application, I want the person at the other end to feel that I am qualified and that I've got experience, I've got qualification, experience, and sincerity. Okay? So pre-pave that. Then pre-pave interviews. Any interview you have, I want them to see that I'm a sincere worker, I'm a hard worker, I will do the job, I will do my best. Okay? Now, the other thing is also pre-pave your conversation with your friends and family. Okay? I want this conversation to end well. I want to feel supported. I want to feel loved and supported. Okay? If you put it out there already, oh my God, I'm going to talk to my auntie and she's going to ask me, did you find work? So now you've pre-paved the opposite of what you want, right? So you've got to, first of all, pre-pave it. But secondly, also have strategies. And the best strategy is to tell people at the outset, when you start a conversation, if it's a relationship and you know they're going to ask you, why are they asking you? They ask you because they care about you. Not because they want to put you down, but they care about you. That's why they're asking. So before they ask, just get it out of the way. Okay? Just you tell them,
Mm-hmm.
That way, it's out of the way right at the beginning of the conversation, and you don't have to feel anything about it. So even before they ask, you tell them, I'm still looking for work. Can you pray for me? Tell them something that makes them take your side. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, auntie, uncle, whoever you're talking to, I'm still looking for work. Can you pray for me? And if you don't mind, don't want to talk about it because it makes me feel bad. That's it. What are they going to do? No, I want to talk about it because I want you to feel bad? No. When you tell someone you don't want to talk about it because it's going to make you feel bad, they are not going to talk about it. So just put it in the conversation right in the front, and now it's done. You don't have to worry about it. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Helpful?
Very helpful. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome, my dear. All right. So I don't see any electronic hands in the air. Lillian, good to see you. Go ahead. Oh, you're muted. You're muted.
Okay, so yeah, I'm sorry, I don't see the electronic hand on my cell phone.
No problem.
So my question today is I originally came to like the unlimited 365 due to a question about harassment, and I wanted to ask a question about that today. I have been doing. Oh, thanks, Sam. Actually, I am. I'm a little busy at the moment because I just moved, and I'm unpacking everything. But the question I have is, I definitely am not as much focused on it, but it does rear its ugly head. I had a situation where also my friend was having the same symptoms as she was with me. And I guess I'm wondering, how do I proceed? Do I just completely try and ignore it? Do I focus on the trees? It doesn't seem to have the presence in my life or in my mind as much, but it is still there, and when it does show up, I do feel a trigger. So I guess
I don't remember, Lillian. I don't remember if you were there in the group when I did a talk on the difference between deactivating a belief and changing a belief.
I do not believe.
Okay. So here's why do you think it happens? Where are you on the emotional scale? Because it can't happen. It can't happen if you're up here. It cannot happen. It cannot happen if you're high on the emotional scale. So if it happens, it's an indication of your not being high on the emotional scale. So then I've had so much experience with people who say, oh, but I was feeling really good. And my answer to that is your definition of what feels good is different from the universe's definition of what should feel good. Which means that you have been in a lower vibrational place for so long that you don't know what pure happy is up here. So even though you're feeling better than before, but you still got work to do to go further high up on the emotional scale. Trust me about one thing. Nothing unwanted, absolutely nothing unwanted can come into your life once you cross the worry line. Okay? Because it is a law. It is based on physics, it is exact, it works the same way. Gravity does not change the way it works. That's why we can work with gravity. That's why we can fly direct flights from wherever. Like my brother's taking a direct flight from Jeddah to Toronto, right? Because gravity can be trusted. So we can calculate what thrust level, how much fuel is needed by the engine to thrust enough power to make the plane fly, to defy gravity and bring him to Toronto in 15 hours. We can calculate that with exact precision, and the airline can announce the time of arrival because gravity can be trusted. It's a law. Law of attraction is precise. It is exact. It's just invisible. You don't see it, but it is controlling your life. And so if you were high up on the emotional scale, it is law. Nothing unwanted can happen. If unwanted things are happening, you are not high on the emotional scale. You still got work to do. And the universe will keep sending you messages saying, oh, sweetheart, you're not there yet. Keep going. And those are the little things that keep happening in our life. That those things that happen in our life, whether they are good or not good, both are guidance. If something good happens, it's a message from the universe saying, you're doing good. Keep going. Don't stop now. Keep going. And if something bad happens, it's a way for the universe to say, you got to make a U-turn. Turn around, turn around, turn around. Okay? The universe speaks to us through manifestations if it is unable to speak to us through the emotional scale. Because a lot of us have become emotionally desensitized. If we were not desensitized, we wouldn't have survived. Because life would have been so painful. We would not have made it through. So we desensitize. It's a protection mechanism. We desensitize ourselves so that we can make it from one day to the next. So then the universe cannot communicate with you through the emotional scale because you've desensitized yourself. And it's a survival mechanism. It's totally okay. You will regain your emotional side. I had to work hard to regain my emotional side. I've shared that with you. I used to have to ask myself every little while, how do I feel? Because, like you, Lillian, I know you so well, I would always ask myself a question, and the question was always, what do you think about this? Zara, what do you think about this? I wonder what that person thinks about it. What should I think about it? I was always in my head. And I had to stop doing that. And the way I taught myself to stop doing that was by asking a different question. And the question was, how do I feel about this? And that's how you awaken your feelings. That's how you start feeling again. But while you are still working on activating your emotional scale, your emotional guidance system, trust the manifestations. There is guidance in every manifestation that happens. Okay? Make sense? Yeah.
Yes.
And just trust the law. And the law is when you're high on the emotional scale, nothing unwanted can come in. You literally do live your life in a bubble. Like, you will notice around you, there are people, during COVID, there were people whose life was not affected by COVID at all. There is economic decline going on in many countries of the world, yet in those very countries, there are millionaires and billionaires living life like nothing's going on. Right?
It was actually like that for me.
So the thing is, you can live your life in a bubble. You create that bubble by being high on the emotional scale. Okay?
Okay.
Awesome. Good
Yeah.
question.
Thank you.
You are so welcome.
And Dr.
Sue,
Wendy was very nice. Thank you.
Sue, go ahead.
I was just curious about feelings of dread. I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I just have this feeling of dread. And I haven't had that feeling in a very long time. And I did like EFT tapping and stuff, and everything kind of turned out fine. Went back to bed, did some writing. But I'm just, for your explanation, someone having, like it just kind of came up at once. You know, it almost felt like anxiety, which I don't typically have. And I was just kind of flexed by it.
Where is it when you say feeling of dread, what's the thought that accompanies the feeling?
It almost felt like a accumulation of a whole bunch of thoughts, you know, like it just all come together, you know, whether it's worry or.
For sure, but what are the specific thoughts? It's always an accumulation. When it gets to that level that you call it dread, it is always an accumulation of many things. So when a thought comes up, you gotta nip it in the bud. You gotta stop right there and clean it up. And
a lot of it had to do with aging.
There's no such thing. Age and aging are two different things. Aging is about resistance. Age is a number. Right?
Yeah.
Let me say something to you that possibly will help you. Dread is almost a state where you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. It's like, and that's what it is. It's like, okay, this can't go on. Something's going to happen. And that is just negative anticipation. Because there is nothing that you cannot change. Listen, Sue, if it hasn't happened, then it doesn't have to happen. If it hasn't happened, then it doesn't have to happen. Because until it actually happens, you can change it. So it does not have to happen.
Yeah, definitely giving too much attention to things that are not necessary to give attention to, I'm sure. Yeah.
Don't. Because you know how that works. Whatever you give attention to expands. So give attention to things that you want to expand.
Yeah. Yeah, more about directing my thoughts, my attention, which I obviously, if I was feeling that way, I'm not really directing my thoughts enough into what I want.
Stay present.
Yeah.
Don't let your thoughts go off on autopilot. Don't let your thoughts run away on their own. Stay present in the present moment. The more present you are, the less you create scenarios about the future, then the better things will turn out. Because people, those of us who are very logical and we have very strong logical minds that are always operating in fifth gear. Those kinds of minds are always creating scenarios about how the future will turn out. And that's the thing that you need to stop doing. You need to stop creating scenarios about the future. The more you stay in the present moment, the more you're going to be okay. Don't think about the future. Live this now moment to the fullest. Because when you start thinking about the future, you're not really living this moment.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of what brought it on. I think there was a lot of thoughts of the future kind of stuff that it all kind of like caved in, you know. Probably, which is good. It probably made my awareness more highlighted, you know, like this, what you doing? Quit it.
Yeah.
You do that.
Yeah. Sometimes something happens and we latch on to it, and then we create all sorts of scenarios because of it. But you have to remember that whatever is happening to other people around you, friends, family, loved ones, it's about them and their vibration.
Yeah.
They're all creating for themselves. Don't pay attention to what they are creating unless you like it. Okay?
Yeah.
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 Awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
You are so welcome. All right. Jessica, Kiana, it's so good to see you here. Who else has not? Hi, Jennifer. Good to see you. Okay, Vivian. Any questions, you guys? Jessica, Vivian, Kiana, anyone with a question or a comment? Go ahead. No questions. Should we close the call then if there are no questions?
I had a question, but I just popped on. I didn't want to
No.
in front of anybody.
Well, nobody else is raising their hand, so
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I've been kind of focused on trying to be more abundant and receiving money. And at first I felt like I didn't want to own a business or anything like that because I didn't feel that I aligned with business owner mindset. And I don't know why. I think it was just I feel like it's a lot of hard work, and I like kind of a flexible work-life balance. I like to be able to do my own thing. But just recently, I love books. I love reading. I love crafting and stuff like that. I'm into like Disney and anime and all things fantasy. So the idea like popped into my mind to like start like a books and novelty shop. And not a brick and mortar place, but I was like, what could I do now with it? And so I was thinking like starting a bookstore. So I did like research of like online shops like Amazon and Etsy, and they didn't seem like anything that I really wanted to do on those platforms. But I found one called Pango Books. So like Sunday, I opened up a bookshop, and I have a ton of books. And I went to the thrift shop and I got books, and I've already made a profit from Sunday to today. But now I'm getting like antsy and nervous about it because I'm not selling as much as I want to sell. I guess like already I'm all like all these negative thoughts are like, this not gonna work. It's gonna take too long to sell the books, or I don't know. I know I'm limiting myself, and I want to get over that. I don't know why I'm like anxious about it. I'm checking the bookstore like every 5 minutes to see if I sold anything, and I know that's not good.
So
So
what made you start Etsy? Why did you go to Etsy?
no, I actually didn't do Etsy.
Okay.
It's called Pango Books.
Okay, so you're just on Pango.
It's just all books. Just
Okay.
on Pango.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What are you worried about?
I don't know. I do not know. It's supposed to be fun. I was excited
Yes.
about it. I was like, this. I love books. This would be fun. I could put all these books that I have up, make some money. I'm not losing any money because they just sit on my shelf. But something about it makes me anxious.
Okay, so what is it? Talk to me. Something about it makes you anxious. What is it?
What is it that makes me anxious?
Yes.
That I won't be successful. That I'm not good enough to sell like some of the other booksellers on there. I don't have what it takes, maybe.
Okay.
That's what's coming up.
See, all of those are negative beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
If other people are selling, you can too. You just need to turn that around, right? If they can do it, I can too. And I'm the new kid on the block. They've been doing it for a while. So maybe they have established clientele. I'm building a clientele. It's how you talk to yourself, right? So the other thing is, have you invested have you stretched yourself in investing in it?
No, I haven't.
So then that shouldn't worry you at all. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And even if I never sell a single book, I now have gained some business experience. Right? I have gained something. I've learned something. I've become more. Okay? Now, the other thing I want you to know, Kiana, is that a lot of business entrepreneurs try tons of things before they find the thing that works. And every time they find out more about themselves. And a lot of times it's the same thing, but they do it differently. They keep tweaking it and changing it and learning more about themselves and learning more about the business that they're doing. And that's how they grow.
That makes sense.
Right? So you've just only started. Right? It's just only started. And the other thing is, don't put yourself under pressure by telling yourself this has to make money. Change the goal.
Right.
Change the goal. You might have started with the goal of making some extra money on the side through a business. You still have your day job?
Yes.
Okay. So then this is just something
Right.
this is not running the house.
Right.
Right? This is not running the house. So there's no need to put yourself under a financial pressure. Don't make your goal a financial goal. Make your goal something else.
Right. Okay.
Okay? This is an experiment. I am going to learn about business through this. I am not putting so much money in it that, think about it, Kiana. I have thought about this. Whenever I get, jelly toes and legs, I remind myself that people borrow millions to set up factories and manufacturing units. Millions. They gotta sell all that stuff. I'm not doing that. I'm not.
Right.
You're not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So if if those people can take such a massive risk to go and set up factories to manufacture millions of products, and they can have the trust and the faith that it's going to work, and they're going to sell all of that. Your little thing is piddly. Why are you worried?
Right. I don't, right. No more. I'm not worried no more.
Yeah. Just
Go ahead.
tell yourself it's an experiment.
Mhm.
Anyone asks you, your husband asks you, your girls ask you, Mama, what's happening with, your new business? How many books did you sell? You tell them this is an experiment.
Right.
This is an experiment that's preparing me for something bigger.
I like this.
I'm doing this as an experiment. Let's see how it goes.
I like this.
Okay? Yeah.
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 I know you would make me feel better.
Of course, sweetheart. See, the thing about business is it's very different from having a job. I can tell you something. Anyone who has any type of business is on a fast track to learning about law of attraction and trust. Because you cannot have a business if you don't trust. And by the way, this is something I always tell people as a coach, coaching business people. I always tell them that anyone who is earning a salary works for a business. Businesses take the risk, right? Why?
Right.
Because they trust. So this business, Kiana, is going to teach you something about trust. And if you can walk away from this business learning more about trust, oh my goodness, that's big and that's massive and that's just beautiful. So when your husband asks you about the business, you tell him, sweetheart, this is about learning trust. Your girls ask you about it, it's about learning trust. Okay? Awesome. Okay, so is Kiana frozen or am I frozen? Sue, oh, there she is. Yeah. Are you back? All right. We let her. Yeah. You froze kind of and now you're muted. You good? You're muted. Oh, there. Now you're not. Yeah.
Okay, my internet is
Yeah. Yeah. It's you're good
now.
now?
I can't hear.
You're good?
Okay, it is. Yep, I'm good now.
Awesome. All right. Okay, guys. So, who else has a question? Vivian, did you have a question tonight? I don't know if Vivian's there. Jessica, did you have a question? No? Angela? Oh, Susan. Awesome. You're welcome. All right. Thanks, Vivian, for your comment there. Jennifer, did you have a question?
No question, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Last call for questions. Anyone have a question? No questions? Then we can go ahead and close the call. You are welcome, Johanna. And I guess when is the next session? Hang on, guys. Let me tell you the date for the next session. So our next Q&A will be on the 17th of September. 17th of September. So if you have a question or if you want to bring a friend, we will meet again on the 17th. Oh, that reminds me, there are actually 2 questions that came in by email, and I'll just quickly see if I can look after those. 1 second. So this question was from Sheikh, and I think it's a he, said there are people in the law of attraction field that state that it's possible to manifest a specific person who is stubborn or rejected you or doesn't even know you exist. To what extent is this correct? Or is it even correct? So, Sheikh, my short answer to you is anything is possible. If you believe that anything is possible, that is the basic principle underlying all of law of attraction, is that anything is possible. But if you start thinking that it's not possible, then it might be possible for other people, but it's not going to be possible for you. Someone who doesn't know of your existence today can become aware of your existence tomorrow. Last night, I had invited my son's girlfriend's family over for dinner, and they were telling me, I asked them, I always love asking people how they got together, and they said, we met each other at a wedding party, and 3 weeks later we moved in together. So things can happen very quickly. If you think it's not going to happen, then there's no way that it can happen, because by you saying, well, how is this possible? You've closed the door. You have closed the door. So whenever something seems like, how is this even possible? You have to remind yourself all things are possible. Anything that you want, the possibility is always there. And if you leave it alone, and if you don't try and knock it into place, and if you don't try and figure out how it will happen, then it can absolutely happen. Okay, so this other question is from Andrea, and she says, this is a little bit of a longer read. It's about her friend. She's known her for many years. She has wanted to be closer to me over the years, but I've kept some distance. A few months ago, her son died suddenly, and she wrote to all her friends and said she doesn't want any visits or phone calls. She has also been sending daily emails to me and a few other people that are extremely dark and suicidal. Ooh, okay. I don't feel extremely safe with her. She can be tough and negative. The last few days my responses were a bit shorter, and she must have felt and wrote to me and asked if I want her to stop sending me these daily scribbles. I was surprised she called them daily scribbles. I think if I tell her that daily emails like this are a bit too much, she will pull away and think of me as a bad friend. I think if I tell her that maybe a little bit less often would be hard to say also, and she still might think I'm a crappy friend. Or maybe I should try to be unconditional and tell her it's fine, I'm not really quite sure what to do. There's no room for solutions or movement in her emails. She's saying things like, this is a life sentence and she'll never ever get over it. She's definitely not my best friend. So basically the question is, what do I do with this person? And the one thing I can tell you, Andrea, is that in all of this, remember to be a duck. Just remember to be a duck. I care, but not that much. And honestly, if she sends you daily emails, you don't have to read them. You don't have to read them. She sends you an email, delete. If her emails are upsetting to you, why would you read them? Don't read them. You don't have to tell her anything. because obviously you are uncomfortable about saying anything to her. So you don't have to. You will eventually get to a point where you own yourself to an extent where you don't really care how another person processes what you tell them, provided there's a very big provided with underlined italics box around it, without withdrawing love. You can tell people never to call you again as long as you do it with love. And they will completely understand and nothing will go wrong. It's when we withdraw love, that's when the other person feels uncared for. And that's when they push back. That's when they think you're not a good friend. It's about the withdrawal of love. If you do something with love, you can say whatever you want. See, my parents were disciplinarians, okay? They belonged to a generation of parents that did not believe in sparing the rod. They used it sparingly, but they were disciplinarians. However, never did I feel unloved. Even when they were meting out punishment, I never felt that they didn't love me. And the biggest example that I think I've shared before is my grandmother was very upset with my father. And she was upset with him because we were on an overseas assignment. I was a kid and with my parents, and we used to live a couple of years in one location and then move to another location. We were on an overseas assignment, work-related assignment, and my father's younger brother passed away, made his transition. My father did not go back home for his funeral. He couldn't get away. So when we did eventually go back home and we visited with my grandmother, I remember my grandmother, when we walked in, she rose and she started walking towards my father. And she was crying. And then very suddenly, she wiped her tears. She took off her slipper. And as soon as she got next to him, she started beating him with her slipper. And the whole family was gathered because everyone was waiting for our arrival. We had been away for 3 or 4 years and we were returning home. Like the whole family was, I still remember the courtyard was full. My aunts and uncles and all my cousins were in the courtyard. And she took her slipper, she started hitting him. And then he hugged her. He hugged her. And everything was fine after that. But in the evening, when we were in our quarters, in our room, our designated suite, which was upstairs in my grandmother's house, my mother said to my father, she said, "How could your mother do that to you? She embarrassed you in front of all your brothers and sisters and all the children." And you know what my father said? My father said, "She did that because she loves me." And I was like, wow, like just wow. Because she did not take love out of the equation. Even though she was beating him, grown man, like I must have been, 10, 12, 13 years old at that time. He took a beating from his mother in front of his wife and the whole family and said she loved me, that's why she hit me. Because his mother didn't make him feel like she didn't love him. She didn't make him feel hated. It's when you feel, you make the other person feel inappropriate, you make the other person feel like, I don't like you, that's love takeaway. You're taking love out of the relationship. And the other person will feel that, and that's the only time when that other person will feel that you're not being a good friend or a good whatever in the relationship. You have to leave love in the equation, and then you can say whatever you want. And I have experienced this, and this is how I have disciplined my own children. Anytime that I have ever wanted them to do something or stop doing something, it has always been communicated with authority combined with love. When you take love out of the equation, that is the only time anything that you say to someone becomes a problem. And then it becomes a domino. You take love out, then the other person takes love out, then you take more love out, then the other person takes more love out, and in that process, the relationship is gone. You can say whatever you want to a person as long as you say it with love. But yeah, my advice to you, Andrea, is just see her email come in, delete. If she really wants to get a hold of you, if she really needs you, she'll call you. She'll let you know. Make sense, guys? Is that helpful? Yeah? All right. Jennifer says, I did that recently, and their reply was, haha, okay. Yes, exactly. Yeah. That's right, Samuel. All right, guys, that's it for now. I'm going to close the call. Love you all lots. And you all will get the notification for when we have our next meeting. Bye for now. Bye.